All right, so let's take a look at number 1. So for our matrices, we just have to make sure that they're the same size, and then we have to do whatever it says. So here it's subtracting. And then we just do one term at a time. So it has to be in the same position, the ones that you subtract. Is this the same size? Same size, same size? Yeah. We have, remember, it's row by column. Row by column. How many rows does this have?
4.
Rows. Remember, rows are like movie theater rows. 1 row. And how many columns? 4. And what about the other one?
1 row.
1 row, 4 columns. So they're the same size, so we can subtract them. So you just make sure you subtract everything that's in the same spot. So the one farthest to the left would be -3 minus 0. I'll come back and subtract them at the end. Next, let's do 4 minus 3. Then we're
Separate it with like commas or
just spaces like how it is here. Then we would do -4 minus -5. And then lastly, we have 0 minus 6. And then we just subtract them. So what's -3 minus 0? -3. What's 4 minus 3? 1. What's -4 minus -5? What happens when you have minus a negative? It turns into a plus. So this is -4 plus 5, which is 1. Awesome. And then 0 minus 6? -6. So then this is our answer.
Oh, it's not.
All right, let's take a look at number 2. So first, let's check our sizes. How many rows do we have here?
1.
1 row, and how many columns? 2. What about the second one? 1 by 2. Thank you. So they're the same size, so we can add them together. So we're going to start with the first row, first column, that first spot there. So 1 plus 0. And then we're going to add the next one. So -5 plus 5. So what's 1 plus 0? 1. What is -5 plus 5? 0. And that's our answer. All right, so number 3. How many rows do we have in our first matrix? 3. How many columns? In our first matrix here? Just 1 column. What about the second one? How many rows? And how many columns? Awesome. So they're the same size, we can add them. So when you add them, just make sure everything stays in the same spot. So first, we have 4 plus -5. 4 plus -5. What's 4 plus -5? -1. Then we have -6 plus 0. So -6 plus 0. What's -6 plus 0? -6. And then lastly, we have -4 plus -4. Awesome, -8. So then this is our answer. All right, number 4. How many rows do we have in our first matrix? 1 row, and how many columns? 3. What about in our second matrix? How many rows? So here we are subtracting. So this would be 4 minus -3. 4 minus -3. What's 4 minus -3? What happens when you have minus a negative? It becomes plus. So what's 4 plus 3? 7. Be careful with your signs, especially when you have subtraction. Next, we have -2 minus -5. So -2 minus -5. What happens when you subtract a negative? Becomes plus. So what's -2 plus 5? +3. And lastly, we have -1 minus -6. So minus -6 turns into a plus. So what's -1 plus 6? +5. Because the 6 is positive, so and it's bigger than 1, your answer is positive. All right, next one. How many rows do we have in our first matrix?
2.
Rows. Remember, think about rows as a movie theater.
I say it then.
So 3 rows and how many columns? 2. And the second one, how many rows do we have? 2 rows and how many columns?
3.
Are these the same size?
No.
So it's undefined. Can't subtract them, so they're undefined. All right, number 6. How many rows do we have in our first matrix?
3.
3 rows and how many columns? 2. What about the second one? 3 and 2. So think about rows as like you slide down the row of the movie theater. Like this is your row, this is your row, this is your row.
Yeah.
So there's 3 rows, 2 columns. Columns go up and down. All right, so let's add them together because we are adding here. So what do I have to add first?
The -4, -1.
So -4 plus -1. What would that be? -5. Because they're both negative. Next, what do we add?
3 is -3.
So 3 plus -3. What's 3 plus -3?
0.
0. What do we add next? 2 plus 5 is 7. What's -4 plus -3? -7. Next we have 0 plus -5, -5. And then lastly, I'm running out of colors. -3 plus -6. Tara, what's -3 plus -6?
Is it -9?
Awesome, -9. So this is our answer. So let's do the next one. What's the size of our first matrix? How many rows do we have? 2 rows and how many columns?
3.
What about the second one? How many rows?
2.
And how many columns?
3.
Awesome. So let's add them. So first we have 6 plus 6. 12. Perfect. What do I add next? 6 plus 3. 6 plus 3 is what? 9. What's next?
-3 plus 3.
What's -3 plus 3?
3. Oh, 0.
0. What's next?
2 plus 3.
And 2 plus 3 is?
5.
What's next?
6 plus 1.
6 plus 1.
7.
And then last?
Plus -4.
What's 6 plus -4?
-2.
Positive 2. How many rows does our first matrix have? 1 row and how many columns?
1.
4.
How's it 1? I'm getting confused.
How many rows does our second one have?
1.
4 rows and how many columns? 1. Are these the same size?
No.
Undefined.
Fine.
All right, number 9. So here we have to multiply first, and then we add them together. So just like PEMDAS, we got to follow our order of operations.
You distribute.
Yeah, we have to distribute this 2 to everything in here. So it's -2 times 6,
-12.
and -2 times 6,
-12.
and -2 times 2,
-4.
and -2 times 6. Now we do it again. We're distributing 3. So make sure 3 gets multiplied to everything inside the box. So 3 times 3, 3 times 3, 3 times 1, 3 times -4, -12. Now we add. What's the size of our first matrix? How many rows?
2.
And how many columns?
2.
What about the second matrix? How many rows?
2.
So they're the same size. Can we add them together? Yes. So what gets added first?
Negative 12 plus 9.
Negative 12 plus 9. Tara, what's negative 12 plus 9?
Negative 3. I said that.
Negative 3. What do we add next?
Negative 12 plus 9.
Tara, what's negative 12 plus 9?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. So next we add negative 4 plus 3. What's negative 4 plus 3?
What?
Negative 1.
Negative 1. And then what's negative 12 plus negative 12?
Negative 24.
Negative 24. All right, let's look at number 10. So here, we're just multiplying.
Are these homework answers going to be uploaded?
Yes. What do we multiply first?
4 negative 5.
And what's 4 times negative 5? Negative 20. What do we do next?
Negative 16.
Negative 16.
I said 12. Gotcha.
What's 4 times 2?
8.
And 4 times 2?
8.
So that's our answer.
Oh, if there's no other way to stop.
Yep. That one, all we're doing is multiplying. Here again, all we're doing is multiplying. So make sure that 6 gets distributed to everything inside your box. So 6 times 4? 24. 6 times negative 6? Negative 36. And 6 times negative 4?
Negative 24.
Negative 24. All right, and lastly, number 12. What do I have to do first? Multiply. So distribute that to everything. So my new matrix here, what's 2 times negative 2?
Negative 4.
And 2 times negative 1?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. And then for the next one, it's going to stay minus if we multiply the positive 3. So just the 3 is getting multiplied to everything. So what's 3 times negative 5?
Negative 15.
Negative 15. And 3 times negative 6?
Negative 18.
Negative 18.
And then you have to minus it.
Now we subtract. So first is going to be negative 4 minus negative 15. So negative 4 minus negative 15. What happens when you have minus a negative? Turns to positive. So what's negative 4 plus 15? Positive 11. 15's bigger. Next, we have negative 2 minus negative 18.
16.
So this becomes a plus. So negative 2 plus 18 is 16. Awesome. So this is our answer. And that's the homework.